Alright, I'm out here at the duck part with the new XTU MAX PRO, shooting in 4K 30 frames per second. Now what I'm going to show you today is different resolutions of this camera from 1080p all the way up to 4K 60, just to see how do all of the resolutions look with this action camera, see how stabilization is, maybe a couple of side-by-sides here in just a little bit. By the way, this is 4K 60 frames per second, just to see how the image quality looks at 4K 60. Is it a true 4K 60, and how does image stabilization look while I'm just hand holding this, walking around? So now a quick little side-by-side comparison of the XTU MAX PRO against the Campark V40. Why am I doing this? Well, because I had a coffee supporter that asked the comparison between the two, between the XTU MAX PRO and the V40 from Campark. So this is just a little sample for you. Okay, now another side-by-side comparison. This one is of the MAX PRO versus the Victure AC940, 4K 30 frames per second. We'll see how the image quality looks between the two, and also stabilization. And we'll do a quick little audio test. Victure AC940, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The XTU MAX PRO, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now the XTU MAX PRO versus the Victure AC960. Quick little audio test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the Victure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the MAX PRO. So we'll see how the video looks. 4K 30 frames per second on both. EIS is on both. So we'll see how the stabilization looks and also image quality. All right, now a quick little side-by-side of the MAX PRO versus the Akaso Brave 7. Quick little audio test, Brave 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The MAX PRO, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see how the image quality looks and image stabilization between the two at 4K 30 frames per second. Okay, now the XTU MAX PRO versus the XTU S3. Audio test on the S3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Audio test on the MAX PRO, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4K 30 frames per second. We'll check image stabilization and image quality. Now I guess it's time for the ultimate comparison between two cameras that have the Ambarella H22 chipset, the XTU MAX PRO and the Akaso Brave 8. The Brave 8 audio test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now the XTU MAX PRO, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to check image quality, 4K, 30 frames per second, and also image stabilization. Okay, a quick little audio test inside my truck with the audio volume inside the camera menu setting set to normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now with the menu setting for the audio set to high, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now I'm going to try the external microphones for the XTU MAX PRO. So we've got the little bitty bendable, and then I've also got the lapel microphone. So the first one I'm going to try is the little bendable. So we'll stick that in right now and see how it sounds. All right, now I've got the bendable microphone hooked up to it. A little audio test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm going to try the lapel microphone to see how it sounds. Okay, as you can see right now, I've got the lapel microphone hooked up to my shirt and into the MAX PRO. Quick little audio test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so something I've come across with this XTU MAX PRO, and I did reach out to XTU, the rep, regarding this, and let me tell you what it is. If you look at my face, I'm a little bit out of focus. If you look at the background, everything's in focus in the background. So I reached out to the rep and I told her about this, and she said that I'm holding the camera too close to my face. And I explained to her that, hey, guess what? I'm 6'6" and I've got a very long wingspan. So my arm is outstretched and I'm still out of focus. But right now I've got the sharpness set to medium, and I'm going to set it to high just to see if that helps a little bit. Okay, now I've got the sharpness set to high, and I really hate doing that because digital sharpening on an image is terrible because you just get so crunchy in the sharpness that I just don't like it. But did it help the focusing at all? Does it look a little bit clearer? That's going to be the main question, because that's a big thing about these action cameras. People are going to use them as a vlog camera, and you want to be able to be in focus. Otherwise, everything behind you is in focus, and you're kind of all muddy looking. Now shooting 1080p 30 frames per second with the XTU MAX PRO. With the Ambarella chip, the Ambarella H22, it should do 1080p very well. And because, you know, a lot of these budget action cameras, 4K looks pretty good, and then you get down to 1080p and all of a sudden it just looks terrible. So I'm kind of curious to see what this is going to look like in 1080p at 30. Okay, so now you notice with these cameras comparisons that there was a little bit of audio wind noise. So what I want to do right now is put the wind jammer on top of the MAX PRO just to see how much wind noise that it actually cuts out. So a quick little audio test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here's a prime example about the focus. On the left is the MAX PRO, and on the right is the S3, and you can see that my face is out of focus even though they're both side by side. So that's something that XTU is going to have to address. Now regarding the stabilization of the XTU MAX PRO, I actually think that the XTU S3 has slightly better image stabilization in my opinion. Especially here, if you just take a look, it just seems a little bit smoother, although the image is a little bit cooler on the S3. So So what are my overall impressions of this XTU MAX PRO? You know, I like it, but it really is dependent on what the final price is going to be and if they're actually going to do a little firmware tweak on this, because I think the image stabilization, it has the ability to be tweaked a little bit better. I think the colors could be tweaked a little bit. Hopefully the focus issue is just on mine that was sent to me, since it's kind of an early release model, and maybe they just didn't focus in the lens correctly on it. The audio sounds pretty good coming straight out of camera. With the little bendable microphone, it's still usable. With the lapel microphone, it's definitely very hot, and I would definitely keep the audio level inside the camera on the default on normal, because if you go too high, it clips very, very badly and it's kind of unusable. I think the colors of the camera are very nice. I'm a little bit suspicious regarding the Ambarella H22 chipset, and there's a reason why I say that. With every other camera that I've got that has the Ambarella chipset, when you take out the files out of the camera, it will say an Ambarella file. Because Ambarella, you have to use their software to be able to develop the image, and it's been on every camera, even going back to the SJ7 that had an Ambarella chipset in it. So now, I'm not saying that it does not have it, I'm just saying I'm a little bit suspicious. The only way to get to that is to actually open up the camera and take a look. I think overall, you know, it's a decent camera, but like I said, it comes right down to pricing. What is the pricing going to be on this camera? Because if it's going to be in the over $200 range, now we're talking about the DJI Osmo Action, the original #1 that you could get for $199. Right now it's like $249 with an extra battery. It's a nice little offering. I was very fond of the S3, but anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know my final little thoughts on this XTU MAX PRO. Good camera. Stabilization is okay. I think the S3 is a little bit better. But pricing, that's going to be the key on this camera. As soon as pricing gets updated, and there's a link, I'll put a link in the description below. If you don't see any link yet, that means it's not available yet, but once it is, there will be a link, and then I may update and put a little comment regarding pricing, whether I think it's worth it or not, because that's going to be a big selling point about this camera. And as always, I'll catch you in the next review. Bye-bye.